Bin mal gespannt.
Once I was a crusader for the Divine Order. I pledged my life to Lucian the Divine. The war changed everything. He sent me to save the elves I grew up amongst. I arrived too late. Lucian ordered the use of death fog against the Black Ring. Annihilate...
Oh, don't stare. How would you look after eons in some ghastly crypt? Your people are rather prone to death. Mine are not. Yet when I emerged from my completely unjustified imprisonment, I found them gone. Our culture forgotten. Any trace of the world I knew all but obliterated. I must even hide my true face beneath an ever-shifting mask for fear you savages will attack me. That is how I wander this strange world. Trying to uncover the truth about a history you primitive people never even knew existed.
Ah, ich war schon sicher, dass ich den nehme. Okay, nehmen wir Menschen. Ich hab verunsichert, ey. Oh. Da sagt er nix. Und Post, hau rein.
It all happened like I knew it would. A single drop of source magic. And like flies to honey. The monsters swarmed. The rebel panicked. The carnage began. And the magisters pointed their fingers at me. Just as I'd planned. I was shackled and collared and sent to Fort Joy. I'd come here to kill Godwoken. But instead I became part of their story.
Oh.
So, still a bit groggy, are we? Don't worry, the sedative will wear off soon enough. Easy now. No need to hurry. Get your bearings and report to me upstairs.
The things I do to complete a contract. Being leashed by the Order once was quite enough. Soon as we get to Fort Joy, it'll be time to have words with this Boris fellow. Locked.
Locked. Okay. Hab dich gesehen, Keule. Oh. Gut Kraft
Well, that
gemacht.
explains the smell anyway.
Warte mal. Optionen, Spieleinstellungen, Steuerung. Muss das Kamera sein? Ah, was denn? Kamera, was stand da hier? Kamera links, Kamera rechts. Aus 5 oder was heißt er, ne? Ach, steht da nicht. Nee, das stört mich mit dem Aus. Da ist er so ganz oben. Ja, viel geiler. So. War so klar. Es war so klar.
Shaking her fluffy coat, the sheep eyes you balefully, her rectangular eyes like letterboxes to the void. With one sharp hoof, she kicks you right in the shin.
Okay. Bäh. Ja, bäh. Ausgezeichnet. Wir sind die Besten. Druckplatten, wo sind die? Aha. Klick. Oh, ich kann nicht sehen, was ist denn das da? Stopp. Alles mitnehmen. Alter Teller, kann man auch mitnehmen? Nehmen wir auch mit. Bestimmt verkaufen. Ah, da muss auch noch was drauf. Was ist denn da? Yes, mitnehmen. So, müssen wir drüber laufen, ne? Ja.
Come here.
Ist noch ein Pen oder nicht? Ölfass.
This again.
The Magister Guard snorts and sniffles as he sleeps. You're almost impressed that one man can make such a phlegmy racket.
Auf Anlegen? Fortgehen. Lass den liegen da. Warte mal, der hat mich doch bestimmt gerufen, ne? Komm mal her.
Hey, get me out of this cage and I'll make it worth your while. You in? Your guess is as good as mine. Someone screamed loud as a banshee. After that, pure pandemonium. They never even told me what I was accused of. Just dragged me down here.
Ja, dumm!
A gentleman among jesters, you are. Give that lever a pull, and I guarantee we'll both get something out of the deal. Set me free, and I'll set you free. A fair trade, I should think.
Before you can even touch the lever, you hear a sniff and snort behind you as the snoring Magister mumbles himself awake. One bloodshot eye opens, and then another.
Oh, fuck.
Is my shift over? Are you here to relieve me? Wait, you're no Magister. You're a sorcerer. What are you doing here, filthy scrounger? Choose your words carefully. My fists ache to meet a new face. And it's about time too. The lads and lasses out there are getting lazy. Figures they'd send one of you sorcerers down. They can barely be chuffed to wiggle a single toe. Can't just leave the prisoner alone, though. I heard he might be the one causing trouble upstairs. If it's all the same, I think it's best he comes with me. Some offence intended. You hear that, Emoire? We're taking a walk. Come on. And keep your hands where I can see them.
Sorry.
Hurry it up, sorcerer. We haven't got all day.
Jetzt.
That's one problem solved. A dead Magister.
So much for a
Somebody'll have to
peaceful
take the
stroll.
blame for this, and it won't be me.
Haha! Ich vernichte dich, Junge.
Empty.
Was hab ich denn da jetzt? Habe ich da jetzt irgendwie... Warum habe ich eigentlich keine Klamotten? Was bin ich eigentlich für ein Bettler? Oh, was ist denn hier? Oh, das scheint Gift zu sein. Schleifers. Krasse Kacke.
No key? No problem.
Ja, irgendwie habe ich auch das Design vergessen, meinen Charakter vom Aussehen her anzupassen. Naja, egal. Oh, Karten, warte mal.
Rubbish.
Kann man immer mitnehmen, ne? Bestimmt.
And I'm back where I started. Nowhere to go but up.
Achso, Tutorial-Decke. Und ich denke, ich wäre schon mitten im Game. Habe ich irgendwas verpasst? Oder? Naja, ich glaube nicht.
My, these smelling salts are strong stuff.
That can't be natural.
Empty.
Nimm ich denn eigentlich alles mit?
It seems as though there's a pattern in the blood flow.
Oh. So, guck mal, du kannst ja alles mischen. Okay.
Did the murderer take him into this room? Or was he already here?
Why, you're looking at... There you are. Not too tight, I hope. The collar, I mean. Oh, not to worry. Every dog has to get used to its leash. In the meantime, your next stop will be Magister William. All passengers have to be registered in the ship's manifest, and he's the chap in charge of the logs. You'll find him on the other side of this deck, in the officers' quarters. Is he? Oh well. Some problems simply sort themselves, don't they?
It seems as though there's a pattern in the blood flow. That can't be natural.
Why, for my peace of mind, of course. Why don't you try casting one of those source spells of yours? See what happens.
Currents of magic surge inside you, boiling, bursting, then breaking, only to fade back into your soul like rain into the earth.
My, look at the concentration on your face. All will, but no result. There you have it. See? The collar's function. It neuters you of sorts. Makes you unable to cast source. For your own peace of mind, of course. Yours and the whole world's. The good ship Merryweather. But you can stand at ease there, Private. You do realize you're not in the army here, don't you?
Index fingers pressed to her lips, she pauses a moment to give you a scrutinizing gander.
I'll need to write
My word, you do seem a bit befuddled, don't you? Perhaps I was a bit too generous with that sedative. Oh, well, I'm sure you'll soon gather your wits. Most likely. Eventually. In the meantime, all you need to know is that we're en route to Fort Joy. A new life awaits, and if you're a particularly good boy, perhaps a cure as well. An end to Source. For good.
She frowns and peers at you closely, resting the back of one hand on your forehead and taking your pulse with the other.
Delusions such as these are rare, but not unheard of. I recommend a cup of mulled wine and another night's sleep. Just take it easy.
It seems as though there's a pattern in the blood flow. That can't be natural.
Bloody murder. Looks like someone's hit the Hall of Echoes a little early.
Ugly sight, isn't it? Burns me up this happened under our protection. We're extremely lucky no Voidwalker followed the source that did this. Finn didn't see it like that. He was desperate for us to help him. Two things scared the living daylights out of him. His own shadow and his own source. We'll find out who did this. Speaking of...
She looks up at you with a mirthless smile.
I was on duty in your room when the murder happened. You were asleep the whole time. Didn't even stir. You're one of the only indisputably innocent people on the ship. Unless you can commit murder in your sleep, of course. Not with that collar on, you aren't. Listen, I could use someone to keep their ears open among the passengers. Sometimes they clam up in front of a uniform. Bring me a good lead, and I'll throw in a shiny gold coin for you. How about that? Thanks. I just want to catch whoever did this before they hurt anyone else.
I forgot how to sing. I did.
An elf sits tucked away in a dark spot, lazily rolling dice onto the surface of a barrel. They sound like the dry cackling of an old witch.
Snake eyes.
She chuckles.
I bet that's just what they'll look like.
She shakes her head.
Game for one, I'm afraid. Rolling dice. Deciding fates. Don't worry, honey. It isn't yours.
She looks you up and down with the merest hint of a coy smile on her lips.
Never say never, though.
You put a knuckle in it. I'm trying to concentrate.
She smiles contemptuously.
Just a kitten in a corner, aren't we?
I'll give you that knuckle if you keep carrying on.
One of us wouldn't kill our own. They're picking us off one by one.
Can we
A
jump?
broad dwarf sits totally upright on the bench, eyes closed, palms face up on his knees. His beard is a cascade of meticulous plaits, each one braided through with golden medallions. He raises an eyebrow as you approach, but doesn't open his eyes.
Listen up, boy. You hear that?
Unacceptable. I've never dined on anything less than a dozen courses.
He turns his head toward you, looking you up and down, and smiles before turning his attention to the ship once more.
There's been a murder, Your Majesty. Maybe that has
You look like a boy to me.
than your appetite.
Listen, if you're interested. Or get gone if you aren't.
First thing about sword. How dare you classify this slop as food? I've seen more appetizing things
The
coming
ship,
out of baked strip
of course.
There's nothing else I can make.
His eyes snap open. He looks at you and frowns.
Murder?
I've never done
Ah,
anything
that's what they were going on and on about.
and I don't intend to do away with the custom.
I wouldn't know anything about it.
Well, there has been a murder, Your Majesty.
I kill a man. He knows who done it. His daddy knows who done it. And the mayor knows who done it too.
Me, when you clearly don't know
His eyes flutter shut, and he assumes his position of repose once more.
Whether they catch me is another matter, but I ain't one to hide my accomplishments.
You one of them? A divine order loyal? They killed a sorcerer, you know. They'll hide the evidence well enough, but make no mistake.
She got eaten by a void woken.
Well, well. What have we here? A fresh face in this stale hell. Let's size you up, shall we? See if you'll do.
The lizard looks you up and down, like a farmer would a fetching horse. All of a sudden, he grips you firmly by the chin, with the intent of inspecting your teeth.
There's some discoloration, but I've seen worse. After all, one can't expect to find prime merchandise on a squalid little ship like this. Now then, to business. You will answer me 3 questions. The first one is this. Can you cook?
Mad? Insufferable.
Ah, music to my beleaguered stomach. On to the second question. Can you knit, weave? In short, tailor? Oh, but to feel the caress of satin on my scarlet skin once more. A most satisfactory answer indeed. On then to my final query. Have you the ability to administer the upkeep of one's personal appearance? The delicate art of cosmetics is what I'm after. The very basics, then. I suppose that's a start. So, 3 questions asked, 3 questions answered. Let's evaluate, shall we? As per your own testimony, you can cook, tailor, and groom. Well, that just about settles it. I offer you my sincerest congratulations. As of now, you are my slave.
I'll tell you if you can keep it quiet long enough for me to listen.
Ask what you must.
Of course you accept. Mine wasn't an offer, it was an order. Anyway, you may leave me for a moment. We'll go over your duties once we reach Fort Joy.
Owning a bit of cabbage becomes a crime. I shall hold my head steady. I spent my life singing for my slaves to bring me my supper. Finer fare than boiled roots and rotten tubers, too. Meanwhile, the Magisters feast on honeyed meat behind this very wall. The indignity.
I'll give you that knuckle if you keep carrying on.
One of us wouldn't kill our own.
The elf is reading a volume of Cranley Hubert's famous encyclopedia. He looks up, his big round eyes scanning your body, absorbing every detail. He reaches out and takes your hand, turning it this way and that, examining it from every angle. Finally, he pinches your skin, gently tugging at it.
Fascinating.
He sits back and returns to his book, flicking quickly from page to page, completely oblivious to your presence.
I am reading. Is this not evident? My book is in my hands, my face turned away from you. Perhaps my eyes not on the page. Damnable things.
He grabs a metal plate and watches his reflection with one eye as the other shifts left to right and up to down. He repeats the maneuver with the opposite eye.
No, they are working quite adequately. It seems you are at fault. Predictable, really. I do not believe I've been drawn anywhere. It is a quaint little read, but it has its faults. It is simultaneously too detailed and insufficient. I know the beginning of this tale and the end, but I am rather missing the middle. Tell me, what do you know of our world's history? Oh, please. I have no interest in that. No. I want to know about the Celestial. I want to know about your gods. This text tells me that they created all creatures, but nothing of what came before. Where did these gods come from? Who are their people? Where are the others of their kind? Of course you don't have any useful information. Why did I expect anything else? Now please, run along. I have a world to decipher.
No amount of pestering will get the elf to take his eyes off his book or respond to your questions.
Just skip to the part where I reassure you and you shut up.
Here to register, sir. Good, good. Magister Williams is just about done with the last passenger. You faring okay so far? I'm glad to hear it. You head on in now. Williams will get you sorted fast.
Keep those bubbles trained on her, and if she tries to run, shoot to kill.
You seem on edge, officer. What on earth is the matter?
Standing at the center of the room, you spot a sorcerer haughtily eyeing a pair of nervous-looking magisters. They keep their crossbow trained upon her as she's being interrogated by an officer.
So you admit it then? You murdered that poor fella?
Yes, I did. But of course, that was only the beginning.
She turns her head and looks you straight in the eye.
There are others whose lives must end.
Good God, the woman's mad. You there, sorcerer! Go and fetch Magister Siwan! We need to do more than collar this maniac. We need to shackle her, hands and feet.
No, I'm afraid I always perform my part solo. Do stay and watch, though.
She reaches for her collar and simply removes it.
I'm just about to create a scene.
Subdue her, men, quickly! If she casts Source, the Voidwoken will come. They'll end us all.
She smiles with wicked satisfaction.
Precisely.
What's happened? Not long before this thing snaps into splinters.
God! Something's pounding on the hull!
Damn. That doesn't bode well. Onwards and upwards.
You pass through the door and are suddenly face to face with an undead. His skull is bizarrely angular, and a glorious jewel sits in the middle of his forehead. The skeleton is quickly leafing through a volume of Cranley Hubert's famous encyclopedia, muttering to himself.
No, no, no! What damn fools record knowledge on a pulped tree? It catches fire, it turns into must when wet, it cannot even resist acid! No wonder they're so bloody ignorant.
The skeleton looks up and notices you for the first time.
Oh, it's you. Shouldn't you be running and screaming or some such?
The skeleton groans and looks back to his book, frantically flipping from page to page.
I know your god did not gift you with much, but kindly use the little you were given. Do you look at me and think, why yes, there is someone with organs enough to drown? Trifling matters like water and poison do not concern me. No, damp robes are the most I have to fear. Once this glorified skiff hits the sea floor, I will simply walk to shore. Whereas you, I believe, have lifeboats to pointlessly squabble over. I believe you did, although I was wearing the face of an elf at the time. I had a mask rather ingeniously designed, which allowed me to take that primitive form. A mask that was stolen by that damned witch after her little scene. Still, she'll drown with the rest of these fools, and I will simply pluck my mask from her cold, dead hands. Indeed. Just as sensible as getting off a sinking ship and leaving a fellow to his business. I would say good day, but it seems quite likely that you're about to die a rather terrible death, so...
The skeleton shrugs casually and returns to his book.
Mal Lage checken, was da in der Mitte ist. Ich laufe nicht über das Feuer.
The marking on the door was painted recently, judging from its pungent scent. You recognize the symbol immediately for what it is, a warning of death fog within. You press your palm against the door to open it. The wood feels neither cold nor warm, but simply grey. The color drains from your hand, and you are left numb. It doesn't budge. The door groans open, but an ashen shadow clouds your mind.
nicht heilen, scheiße. Nee. Das bist völlig cool. Okay, dann nehmen jetzt.
The dwarf yanks at one of the nearby ropes to no avail.
You said there were other people down there. We need to help them.
You see those tentacles, kid? It's time for getting the hell out of here.
Thank you! There's a ladder right over there. You can go straight...
You're gonna be the death of us, you hear?
The Magister lies on the floor, unconscious and bleeding from a dire-looking wound. The Magister lies on the floor, unconscious and bleeding from a dire-looking wound.
Get yourself up the ladder! There's a... Wait! Voidwoken!
Bugs would sink the ship on my watch.
I thought Voidwoken was supposed to be scary.
Let the games begin.
Glory is mine!
They who are about to triumph.
Mein Gott.
Not Harry. This old tub is about to burst.
Away! We don't have much time.
We make a pretty good team.
I hear something.
Wait! We need to wait!
Thing! There's no time.
I have plans for you, child. Rise.
Honorable Dallas, we lost a ship sailing sorcerer prisoners to Fort Joy. We assume some escaped and broke their collars. Their vile magic lured the Voidwoken. All who were aboard are presumed dead. Yours faithfully into eternity, High Judge Oriven.
So the Order's right about one thing. We attract Voidwoken. Am I the lone survivor? Only one way to find out. Any man who put his likeness in stone is a fool in my book. This won't be of any use.
The child has a small mirror in his hands. He holds it up at angles, inspecting his eyes, his chin, the crown of his head. He spots you, and his arms snap to his sides.
I'm not supposed to talk to strangers. Are you a sorcerer? One of those guys that brings the bad void things here?
The child screws up his face and looks at you hard. He lifts his mirror up to his nose, closes one eye, and looks at himself again.
I don't see any source on you or me. I guess they're wrong or crazy. No one cares where I go. They know I can't leave the island. It's nicer out here than inside, anyway. They're gone now. Their Majesties took them already. I guess now they're cured. And maybe they're waiting for me back at home. But you didn't die. I guess I am, but it's just normal to be scared. Nowhere isn't scary. There isn't anywhere safer. That's what I mean. You'll see.
Void woken. Those are the same beasts that sank our ship. Damn. They made it to shore.
Prepare yourself.
I thought these bloody collars were supposed to keep those things at bay. The face is familiar. What's left of it? He was aboard the ship.
You spot a strange lizard gazing over the water with a steady, malcontent stare. His skin is of a bright, blood-red color. Could he be... Yes, you recognize him from the ship. It would seem you're not the only one who survived the tentacles of the deep.
Grinsend.
The lizard turns about with the graceful ease of a dancer, or a duelist. You lock eyes with his, two smouldering embers that sizzle your very soul.
Yes, I imagine you do. You're made of sterner stuff than I first gave you credit for. Chances are I wouldn't have survived the shipwreck had you not returned to the aid of your fellow passengers down in that dreadful hold. You have my gratitude.
Hand over heart, he salutes you with a bob of the head. More than a nod, though less than a bow.
Yes, I'm sure you've all the makings of a hero and all that, but let's not get carried away, shall we? Nevertheless, one good turn does deserve another, so as far as the whole slave business is concerned, let's just forget about it. You may as well... Now then, if there's nothing further... I'm sure I don't mean to sound condescending, but I had thought it quite self-evident I was gazing out over the waves.
He sighs dramatically.
Tell me, what do you see when you cast your glance over this ocean? Memories. Quite so.
He looks out over the water once more, and so do you. A few tranquil moments pass as the waves lap against your thoughts.
As for myself, when I consider this vast expanse before us, I see an empire. I see continents dotted with mighty cities, and shimmering along the soft curve of the sea's horizon, I picture the palaces that formed my paradise. Lost. What do you mean, what do I mean? I mean just what I say. I had a very actual empire that I lost.
Suddenly, having all the air of being deeply offended, he stares at you with utter incredulity.
Well, don't just stand there gawking like an ape at an abacus. Or do you really mean to tell me you don't know who I am? Oh, may the seven have mercy on their own creation. I am the Red Prince, the All-Conqueror, the World-Tamer, the spouse of the sun. Of course you know me.
There's a brief moment's pause, during which his grandiloquent pose deflates ever so slightly.
That said, I suppose I must own up to the fact that I find myself rather in between all-conquering and world-taming opportunities at the moment. The grandeur that is my fate has hit a bit of a snag. But never you worry. For the throne I was destined, and my throne I shall have. This and that? Tag along? Do you really mean to compare the fate of an empire to whatever foibles you seek to fix? On the other hand, I really could do with a dog's body. And you've already proven to be trustworthy enough. You came back for the others on that ship, after all. Fine, I accept.